Okay, these are my Blender notes for how to get custom orientation from Blender into Unity. So for this example, I've got this panel right here on the side of the spaceship, and I want this panel to open on this hinge here, and I want it to stay perfectly aligned. So a couple things we need to do. First thing we're going to do is set the origin to that hinge. Very simple process. Go into edit mode, select the edge, Shift S, cursor to selected, tab back to object mode, object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. Great, now we can rotate on that hinge. So if we bind it to the y-axis, for example, you can open it, you get an idea of what's going on here. Since this panel is almost aligned with the y-axis, you get a pretty good idea of what it's supposed to look like, but you see we've got a gap here and it's clipping in on this side. Now that's not a big deal for this panel, maybe we could let that slide, but for other ones like this guy, it's not gonna fly. So let's do this properly. Go ahead and reset that. So what we need to do is create a custom orientation, and then we're gonna do a couple of steps to get that to carry through to Unity. I'm gonna go into edit mode, select the face that is on a plane of the orientation we want. Now quads are a little bit dangerous. As you can see, this quad is twisted. It's not perfectly flat. You can use this and it will just sort of get the average of all the normals from the vertex, but we don't want that. We want it to be exact. So we're going to Control T, triangulate it, and then select the triangle that has our hinge on it. One of the edges of the triangle is our hinge. Now with this selected at the top center where it says global, we're going to click that drop down for transform orientations, and we're going to click the little plus to create a custom orientation. Now I'm going to call this something specific to me, which is going to be mounting handle door underscore external right. And I'm naming it that because I have a lot of these. You name yours whatever you want. You can name it test, for example, and just reuse the same one over and over and over. That's fine too. So now we've got our custom orientation. And if we stay in this custom orientation space, we can rotate on, I believe it's the x-axis. So go back to object mode, rotate x. Now you can see we're getting that correct rotation that we want, which is perfect. It's perfectly aligned on both sides, but we need to carry this into Unity, and that's where it gets tricky because Unity doesn't have this custom orientation. So let's go ahead and reset that. What we're going to do is, leaving our 3D cursor on our hinge, we're going to Shift A to create an empty plane axis. Now with this empty plane axis selected, and we're in object mode and we're still in our custom orientation, we're going to go Object, Transform, Align to Transform Orientation. This only works if you have a custom or transform selected. So Object, Transform, Align to Transform Orientation. There we go. Now we need to parent our panel to this empty transform. So select the panel, Shift select the empty, Control P, Object, Keep Transform. Must choose that. Now we're parented, which is what we want. So we're going to select the door. There's one more thing we got to do. We're going to press N to open this little side menu, the Tools button, and you'll see this drop down Options, Transform, Effect Only. We want Effect Only Origins. Select that. Now with that selected and the panel selected and we're in object mode, again, Object, Transform, Align to Transform Orientation. So now we've rotated the origin of our object to match this custom orientation, and since it's parented to an empty that's also on that custom orientation, this local rotation will be 0, which is exactly what we want. We want the local rotations of this position to be 0. So we're going to go ahead and unselect origin because we don't want to use that in the future. I'm going to select everything, File, Export, FBX. We're going to call it Test. We're going to go into Unity. We're going to drag that in. Okay. Pull in our test ship. We're going to select our panel. And you'll notice all the rotations, the local rotations are 0, 0, 0. That's perfect. And you see the x-axis is the rotation we want. So let's grab the x-axis and rotate it. Now we can drive this in code and rotate on just the x-axis, and you see it is perfectly aligned. You can do this with any orientation on any object as long as you've got a parent. This where is it? This empty right here. Now you might be thinking to yourself, I don't want a bunch of empty transforms on my object. That's going to slow down my game. I've looked into this. Empty transforms have virtually zero overhead in the game. When the object's not moving, it doesn't calculate anything. It only recalculates it when the object moves, and the calculation cost is minuscule. It is tiny. You would need thousands of empty transforms to even be able to tell that there was something going on in the profiler. So don't even sweat it at all. It's having empty transforms is virtually nothing for performance impact. All right, that's it.